friends, welcome to our first English class. Today we are starting the class quoting P.B. Shelley. He has sung, "If winter comes, can spring be far behind?" What does it mean? It means if there is a bad time, it will certainly pass and the good time will come. During this COVID-19 affected period, we have to remember these lines. Yeah, we have to be optimistic. This time will pass and we will get back our olden good time. Once again, I am telling the same lines. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? Because we have to take the two words here. The two words means spring and winter. What are they? They are the names of two seasons. May I ask you, how many seasons are there in total? In India, we consider there are 6 seasons. But generally, in the world, we consider there are 4 seasons. Which are these seasons? Here we can see a poem written by the famous Lebanese poet and philosopher Khalil Gibran. Let's see. He has sung, "I am the daughter of the elements, with whom winter conceived, to whom spring gave birth. I was reared in the lap of summer, and I slept in the bed of autumn." So here we get the 4 seasons. So which are the seasons? We can see the first one, winter, second one, spring, third one, summer, and the fourth one, autumn. So there are 4 seasons. Why are we saying all these things here? Because we are going to study a poem that is in the background of a season. Okay, before coming to that, let's see our textbook, the 10th standard textbook. You see here, this is our first unit, Glimpses of Green. So we are going to have a look at green here. What does it mean? So we are going to deal with something that is related to nature. We have to remember in our mind, we are going to deal with something that is related to nature. And in the first unit, we have 2 stories and a poem. The stories, the first one, Adventures in a Banyan Tree. The second one, The Snake and the Mirror. And there is only one poem, and we are going to study the same here. And the poem's title is Lines Written in Early Spring. And who is the writer of the poem? The poet, another famous English poet, William Wordsworth. We all know, you must have heard about him. He is known as the poet of nature, and also he is known as the high priest of nature. So we are going to study a poem written by him, and the poem, you know already the title, it is Lines Written in Early Spring. First, I'll just read the poem. You all listen very carefully, and at the same time you read the lines. It is shown here, it will be shown here. You also read the lines while I read.
Lines written in early spring. I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a groove I sate reclined. In that sweet mood, when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man?
Now, we are going to see the stanza-wise meaning of the poem. The stanza-wise explanation. So first we have to understand what is a stanza. You have to bear in your mind that each paragraph in a poem is called stanza. Okay, don't forget this. Each paragraph in a poem is called stanza. So there are 6 stanzas in this poem. Okay, we have to understand there are 6 stanzas in this poem, in this particular poem, and I am going to explain each stanza for you.
I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a groove I say reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. In the first stanza of the poem, the poet says he heard 1,000 blended notes. What did he hear? Not 1 or 2 blended notes, but 1,000, which means a lot of blended notes. What are blended notes? Well, notes referred to here are musical notes, or we can say musical sounds. How many sounds were there? 1,000, according to the poet, which means a lot of sounds. They were blended. Yes, there was a mixture of those sounds. So, we can understand that the poet heard 1,000 sounds which were coming together, not one by one. When did the poet hear those blended notes? While in a groove, he say reclined. So, where was the poet? He was in a groove. Then another question. What is a groove? A groove is a small forest or a place with a lot of trees, we can say. What was he doing there? The poet says he say reclined. Here, said is a poetic word or an old-fashioned word for sat, past form of sit. So, we get that the poet was sitting in a groove, but how was he sitting there? The answer is reclined. So, he was sitting reclined, which means in a relaxed manner. Now things are clear for us. The poet was sitting in a groove, relaxed, and he heard a lot of sounds. Now let me ask you, what can be the sounds the poet heard? It can be the chirping of birds, the buzzing of bees, and the rustling of leaves in the wind. It's a very pleasant atmosphere. But the poet says, in the sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. We know it was a sweet mood, and the poet's mind was full of pleasant thoughts, happy thoughts, positive thoughts. Why? Because he saw such beautiful things around. But all of a sudden, sad thoughts came to his mind. Why? Let's see the second stanza. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. To her fair works, to her beautiful creations, did nature link. Nature did link, which means nature linked. So, the poet says, nature linked to her beautiful creations. What did nature link? The human soul that through him ran, that ran through him. The poet is a human, and the soul that ran through him means the soul within him. Soul means the spirit or essence of a person. Here, the poet is speaking about his own soul. He feels nature linked his soul to her creations. What are her creations? The poet was sitting in a groove, and what he saw around him were the creations of nature. And the poet felt attached to those creations when he was sitting in the groove. But the poet says, much it grieved his heart. It pained his heart very much. It made him very sad to think what he thought, when he thought what man has made of man. Now it is very clear how the poet became sad. The poet was in the lap of nature. We can understand. The poet was in the lap of nature and he was happy. Suddenly, he thought of human beings and he became sad. So, we can understand the human activities pained him. The poet here talks about what we human beings are doing to one another. Now, let's come to the third stanza. Through primrose tufts in their green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. Here, the poet describes the nature around him. Through primrose tufts in their green bower. Primrose is a flowering plant, and its picture is shown on the screen. Tuft means a bench of grass or a small clump of bushes. Here it means so many primroses were there. And they were in their green bower. Bower is a shady, leafy shelter. So the poet was sitting in that bower. It is very clear. And he saw there so many primroses. And through them the periwinkle trailed its wreaths. The periwinkle climbed up. The periwinkle trailed its wreaths. Periwinkle is another plant and whose peak is shown here. So we have to understand the periwinkle climbed up, trailed its wreaths. That means twisted. Yeah, it was twisted with the primroses. So it was growing up twisted with primroses. It was among the primrose plants. So they were together, but they were not harming each other. They were living in harmony unlike human beings. And the poet adds, "'Tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes." "'Tis means it is. So the short form of it is 'tis. So it is his faith. The poet believes that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. It means all the plants are happy and satisfied. They never complain. Instead, they enjoy life each moment. So they are very happy. Now we can look at the fourth stanza. The birds around me hopped and played. Their thoughts I cannot measure. But the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The poet describes another scene here. He saw many birds around him. He saw them hop and play. The birds were jumping and playing. Their thoughts I cannot measure, the poet says. I cannot measure their thoughts. The poet admits that he could not understand what those birds were thinking. But the least motion which they made, the slight movement they made, the birds made, they were moving. It seemed a thrill of pleasure. The poet felt they had a thrill of pleasure. They had a great joy. Each of their moves showed the poet that they were extremely happy. Now, the fifth stanza. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. The budding twigs spread out their fan. The small twigs means tiny branches, tender branches of plants. What did they do? They spread out their fan. What must be the fan? Of course, tender leaves. Now the image of tiny branches with the tiny leaves must come to our mind. The poet says, those branches spread out their leaves to catch the breezy air. The air was breezy. A soft wind was there. And we can see a beautiful image of tender leaves shaking in the wind. and I must think, do all I can. The poet says he can do nothing but think. He cannot help thinking. What? There was pleasure there. So they were also happy. He again presents before us another happy picture. Now we can come to our last stanza. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? If this belief from heaven be sent, if this belief is sent from heaven, we know about the poet's belief. His belief is that all the creations of nature are in harmony. All the living beings except man is happy. If this is decided by the heaven, the divine place above, if such be nature's holy plan, if this is nature's holy plan, if nature also plans this, if nature wants us to be like this, like the poet believes, the poet asks, have I not reason to lament? Don't I have a reason to cry? Am I right to be sad about what man has made of man? The poet here means that the God and nature wants us to have a happy and peaceful existence on earth. But man never cares about it. He harms his fellow beings as well as nature. So the poet is extremely sad. So this is the summary or the explanation of these lines. Now, if we analyze this poem, the title will be very useful. Lines written in early spring. It goes without saying that spring is a very happy time. It is the time when there are a lot of plants, a lot of flowers. All the creatures are happy. When it is early spring, we have to understand that winter has just passed, which means that everybody should be extremely happy. But the intensity of that happiness intensifies the sadness in the poet's mind because of the negative things done by man. Thus, we can see a sharp contrast between the happiness of the season and the negative attitude of man.
Hope you all understood the poem. Now we have to discuss the poetic devices in the poem and also the activities related to the poem, and also we have to see the critical appreciation of the poem. All these things we will discuss in the next class. For the time being, we are winding up. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.